Hi everyone, and welcome to another session of Building Blocks. I'm Judy Brown, and I'm here to show you from, oh, by the way, I'm from the Little Fabric Garden, and I'm here to show you how to put this Snowball table runner together. It's going to be done a little differently than what we've done in the past. We have always gone step by step by step, and I showed you like a lot of the sewing, and then we went from one thing to another. But we're going to do it a little bit differently. All right, so for this project, I'm going to move on over here and I'm going to show you what we have. For the project, you need 48 4.5 inch squares. You can use 4.5 or you can use 4 1/4. The pattern calls for 4 1/4. It might be easier to cut it at 4.5. And it's not going to make a big difference in the outcome when it's finished. So these were the fabrics that I used. You can use scraps, you can use all white, you can use whatever you want, you know, like if you're trying to get rid of some of your scraps in your cream and white bin, you might want to use those and get them cut. But you need 48 of those. And then I used these for the little squares that will go over there, and I use seven different fabrics, and I cut them in strips of 1.5 inches. Now, out of a 1.5 inch strip, you can get 28 little 1.5 inch squares. You need 192 of those little 1.5 inch squares. That's why I'm not going to show you how to do 48 of them. We are just going to do one. All right, so these were the fabrics that I used, and they really worked out well. I wanted mine to kind of look wintry. I didn't want it to look Christmassy, although you can very easily make it look Christmassy. I just wanted it to kind of look cold, and I think it came out that way. All right, so like here is the size of the squares that you will be cutting your fabrics, and remember there's 48 of these. All right, you also need 5/8 of a yard of the fabric that's going to be the border, the sashings, and the binding. So you need 5/8, and this was the one that I chose for that project. Now, the original pattern that I used is a pattern from All People Quilt, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they have a lot of really nice free patterns, and I had seen this once before and I had looked it over. I did a little tweaking to their original pattern, and I will explain now what that part of that tweaking was. At the part where, and I don't know if you can see it, where the trees are down, on either end, they were supposed to be pieced with like little tree things, and you were supposed to sew them together. I just figured it would be easier to applique the trees on, so that's what I did. So I used two pieces, one on either side, 6 by 15.5 of blue fabric, and then the trees will be appliqued on it. I picked these two for the trees. Now I know they're not really green, but they kind of blended in with the other fabrics that are used in it, and I thought that it would work really well. And of course, you're going to need a little, I forgot to put it out here, but you're going to need about a 5-inch square, about this size of brown for the trunks of the tree. All right, so that's all the stuff that I used, and now I'm going to come on over and I'm going to show you how I did it. All right, so here we have one of the squares. All right, this is I think that I did cut this at 4 1/4. So I've got that there, and then what you need to do, you're going to put these squares in the corner to get this, that look. So the first thing you do is you take your little squares, all 192 of them, and you're going to draw a diagonal line from corner to corner. And you will do that with 4 of them. All right, and so I have done that. And then you take these and you are going to put them in the corner, and you can see the diagonal line is going this way. This one will be going that way. Here we go with this one, and then this will go, you can't see this one very well, but I know it's there. All right, so I'm going to stick a couple pins in there, and then we're just going to sew it. It was a fun project to do. It's just that there were a lot of little squares, you know. And it wasn't too bad if you like you cut the strips, a couple strips, and then you lined them up and you cut a couple of them together. And like I said, you can get 28 out of a strip. So it comes, I think if you use 7 different fabrics or 7 strips, you can use all the same if you want to. I just wanted a scrappier look. That will come to I think it's 196. You'll have a couple left over. So, all right. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to sew on those diagonal lines. Just got this machine back from repair, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that everything's going to be fine with it. This was my original one, and I really do like it. Remove the pins, and then you can trim these in one of 2 ways. If you're really worried about it, you can like put your little ruler on the 1/4 inch and just give it and then get rid of it, and you've got a 1/4 inch. If you've been doing it a long time, you might not want to pull all that out, so you can take your scissors and you can kind of eyeball the 1/4 inch, and either way works. It just depends on how precise you like to be. I'm kind of lazy. So we've got all that, and then take it over to the ironing board, and we're going to press them out, and that will give us the snowball look. All right, so give me a second and I will do that. All right, so as you can see, I took this over to the ironing board and I pressed it back, and it does give it that snowball look. So what you need to do is to sew 4 of them across, and the pattern calls for 4 across and 12 down. So that would give you the 48 of the squares that you need. This table runner is kind of long. If you don't have a table that is that long and you don't want to make it that long, you don't have to, but try to get the 4 across, and then you can decide what the length is. This ends up being about 18 by 56, so it's a pretty long table runner. So anyway, what you're going to end up doing is sewing these together. Make 48 of these little buggers, sew them together, and then you will have this whole middle section here. All right, now what I did for the little squares is, because I use different colors. If you use the same color, you don't have to worry about that at all, but I use different colors, and so I had little stacks of the different colors, and so I would put the first 4, then I would take the second one, and then I'd do 4, and so they were all different, they're kind of different. And when I was putting them together, then all I had to do was move them around. If I had 2 that were going to be next to each other that were the same, I didn't want that, I would just flip it until I got the look that I wanted, and then I would sew them together. And the same thing when you're going row to row. You can just take the whole thing and flip it, you know, before you sew it together. So that's how I did the middle section. All right, so when you have your 5/8 of yard of this, and this particular piece is only a half a yard. I had it already cut for something else, and so I thought, well, I didn't want to cut another piece. So anyway, you have to cut this and cut it up. So you need 4 2.5 by the width of fabric, which will be for the binding. All right, and then you need 4 2-inch by width of fabric for the border. Okay, around on the sides and the top and the bottom. And then you need 2 strips that are 1 3/4 by 15.5, and they will be going, one will be here and one will be down at the other side. Okay, so you get those pieces all cut out and get, you know, put them aside until you need them, which is right now. So you're going to take, after you get this all sewn together, you are going to work on these pieces. Now, don't sew these to this until you get this particular part done. And this is going to be the applique part. So in your pattern that you will receive either, you know, like online or here at the store or at the library, you will have the template for the trees and for the little trunk of the tree. You need 8 of each one of them. All right, and so you will get get Wonder Under, which you know, is a fusible. Most of you know what that is. You can either use the Wonder Under or Steam-A-Seam, and there's another one that just I never can remember the name of it, but there is another one that a lot of people use. So anyway, you are going to trace that on, well, I think I have one underneath here. Okay, here's the Wonder Under. So I traced one of them, of each one of them, and then you're going to cut this out and put it on the back of one of the tree fabrics. All right, you're going to press it down. And then this one was a little piece of brown that I had. So we are going to cut all 8 of them out. So we need to take the backing off. And with 4 of them, you're just going to have to, you know, just arrange them, you know, going across. Now because I used 2 different fabrics, I did them every other one. Now these are upside down, as you can see, but if you need to hold this up so you can see it better. All right, so I used the little plaid ones or checkerboard ones and then just alternate it, okay? But you can do 4 different ones if you want to. It doesn't make any difference how you do it. It's however you want to do it, and the fabrics that you have that are in your stash that you really want to get rid of. All right. I was really thinking about like a green, you know, for the trees, green, but when I put the green next to these fabrics, no, didn't look good, so back to the drawing board. All right, and so then you're just going to get your little trunk in there and put your tree there. You'll do the same thing all the way around, and then just go press it down so it fuses down, and then just applique it, do the blanket stitch or zigzag stitch, or if you like to do the hand blanket stitch around, that would be beautiful too. So anyway, so that's that part. And after you get both of these done, then you're going to come back to this. All right, so you will take your 2 1 1/4 by 15.5 inch strips, and you will sew, because that's your sashing, you will sew that to the bottom, and then your tree will be sewn to that. All right, and you will do the same thing to the other side. All right, after you get that done, and these guys are done, And if you want to do the applique, the blanket stitch around, before you hook that, before you sew it to this section, it probably would be a good idea. Then you won't have all of this trying to go under, through your machine. So I would say do the applique on here, and after you get the applique done, put your sashing strip on, put this on. Then you will have that whole middle section, and all you will have to do is put the side borders on, quilt it, and then just put the binding on it. It was really easy to do, and in fact, when I quilted this, I just did it myself, and I just did it in the ditch, like went straight down and straight across, and went across here, and then I got very, very close to the trees, and did it that way. And you can see on the back, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's holding everything in place, and that's exactly what you need. So this is the Snowball table runner that is, like I said, it originally came from All People Quilt, and with just a couple tweaks, I did it with the applique. So I hope you liked the project. I hope I didn't confuse you, and you understood what I was doing and why I didn't do 48 individual ones to show you how to do it. So the patterns can be found at the library, online, and also here at the store. So if you have any questions, you can, give me a call. All right, thanks for, showing up and watching, and hope to see you the next time. Bye-bye.